Beyond the normal plumbing, we also have to have all of our sinks and our basins. We're going to have 4 very basic basins in a commercial kitchen. You might only have 3 in some, but in most cases you're going to have 4 basic basins. We're going to have a typical utility sink. That's what this is. This is just a general wash sink. We have a hand washing sink, a triple basin sink, and what we'll describe as a service sink. When we look at these sinks, again, we worry about the flood rim. Is the flood rim for the sink above so we don't have any cross-contamination? Most of these sinks should be stainless steel. Stainless steel because they don't harbor any bacteria. It's nice and safe. And lastly, and probably the most interesting thing for most general commercial property inspectors, is our drain connections on all of the sinks are typically indirect. When we look at an indirect drain, we're looking at a drain that the down tube does not directly connect to the sewer. You'll see it's connecting into a basin on the floor. In this basin is a small bell filter, and what that's doing is that's collecting all of the large particles before they go down into the sewer system. And that allows us to clean it out, keep the system clean, and work. So we're going to find an indirect drain on utility sinks, triple basin sinks, any floor drains around a commercial kitchen, bar sinks. The only place that you might find a direct drain will be on a hand washing station. All commercial kitchens have to have a place for our employees to wash their hands. A dedicated hand washing system. The hand washing system has to have both hot and cold water. We need to verify that we have both hot and cold water. So we want to turn it on, make sure we have hot water. Once I have hot water verified, I turn it on, make sure I have cold water. And once we know that, there's no regulation on how many hand washing stations we need. A really good kitchen will be laid out in such a way that it's very convenient for anybody working in the kitchen to wash their hands. In this particular kitchen, we're about 500, 600 square foot. We have 2 stations in this. So I would want to operate the sinks on both sides. So run your hot water, run your cold water, and all the devices. Again, a hand washing station might be a direct connection, where a utility sink might be an indirect connection. Let's go take a look at our triple basin. A triple basin sink has a very specific design. Its design is to help sanitize and keep things clean. In the event a kitchen does not have an industrial commercial dishwashing system, the triple sink comes into play. We have the first basin, which is rinse, the second basin, which is wash, and the third basin, which is sanitize. And then we have a spot to let things air dry. A commercial kitchen is not allowed to ever dry anything with a towel. Everything has to be air dried. And so again, triple basin is a spot, because if we don't have a commercial dishwashing system, which produces water in excess of 180 degrees, the commercial triple basin sink has a sanitizing agent that allows those dishes to be sanitized at a lower temperature. And so again, we want to make sure cold works, hot works, and it's an indirect drain. In this particular case, I've got a red faucet on this side, I got a blue faucet on this side, and I would want to make sure that these are accurate, because the way I look at it, hot is always on the left, cold is always on the right. And so again, our water heater is not working in this kitchen, but I would want to verify that. This would definitely be a photo that I would take on my inspection. Run water on all 3 sides, make sure the indirect drain is working. Let's take a look at our service sink. The service sink, or some people will call them a mop sink, has to be present in every commercial establishment. By having this allows us to fill our mop buckets to keep things clean. When we're looking at these sinks, we need to look at the walls surrounding them, make sure there's no mold growth or anything else going on. A lot of these will have a hose or a lot of these will often have a hose hooked up to the spigot. And by doing that, that allows us to spray down the kitchen or fill the mop bucket. Our challenge is that's one of the, as we know, one of the easiest ways to create a cross-contamination. In this particular one, you'll see that we do have a vacuum breaker right up at the top of the faucet. That acts as an immediate break or immediate safety device to keep any backflow from happening from that hose. So that's really an excellent system. But what we want to do is we want to run the water through this and operate the unit. And so this is all we're doing on this. Run the water if you could, and then we'll look at the walls. As far as the plumbing goes, just run everything. Make sure nothing's leaking. Verify your indirect versus your direct drains, and operate all the sinks for hot and cold water.